Commissioner Hodges, I'll thank you in leading us to the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sure. Let's move on to last meeting's minutes. Is there a discussion or a motion for approval? Second, all in favor? Aye, the motion carries. On to last meeting's calendar. Questions, comments, suggestions?
I have nothing. One question I have is, the meeting from Monday been confirmed next Monday,
Not next Monday.
Monday, the 20th.
is it the 20th?
You talking about the personnel hearing? That is on,
It's on a Friday, isn't it?
yeah, wait a minute.
That changed.
All right, wait a
No,
minute.
it was on the 10th and then
Yeah,
got changed off the 10th.
I thought it was to the 20th.
So it's 20th, 9 AM, Deborah?
Let me just look and make sure I have it. Right.
What days that fall?
It's on the 20th at 9 AM.
Has that been confirmed?
Yes, that is confirmed.
That falls on Friday.
Monday.
On Monday.
Good. Very good. Commissioner, on to previously signed documents. Discussion motion to approve.
Make motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Next up, we have a presentation of the gunstock check. We had Commissioner Lambert, gunstock area commissioners. Nice to see you.
Good to see
Enjoyed
you.
your presentation last week for the delegation. Very impressive.
It was a dry run for tonight and hopefully Commissioner Wood will be here shortly.
I hope so.
He actually has the big check. But
Okay,
in the
all right.
meantime, you know, once again, thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure to be at this point in our season. And as you know, this is kind of like the culmination, you know, we have the summer events and winter events and we do all the things and you know, we wrap up the season, we go through an annual financial audit. And then the result of the audit and kind of the last act of the 20 fiscal year 25, is the presentation of the check, which my understanding, the actual check is already been deposited. So I'll talk about the amount when Jay gets here.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
just to give you a brief update, I know you're all familiar with Gunstock, but it's always great fun to kind of talk about all the good stuff. So, as you know, it is one of the primary drivers of the local economy, aside from Lake Winnipesaukee. Just a couple of stats that I think you would find interesting. In the past season, Gunstock employed a total of 842 people. Which there's some volunteers in that, and then there's a lot of part-timers, and then there's a pretty good complement of full-time year-round employees as well. And as you probably know, one of the great things about Gunstock for our youth is that a lot of the young people in Belknap County, their first job is at Gunstock. And it's always a great pleasure to be there in the winter, kind of some of the snow sports activities, to see these young people kind of engaged in sharing the gift of skiing, teaching, and earning their first paychecks. Commissioner Wood.
Commissioner Wood,
Vice-
thank you.
Vice
You're welcome.
Chairman,
Great.
Commission.
Are you finished with your statement? I was gonna say, what a great segue for paychecks. But were you finished, Mr. Chairman, or?
Well, I was gonna go through a few things, but since the check is here, we might as well. The money.
Sure.
So last year, the check that we turned over to Belknap County was $352,000. And we're very happy to report that this year we exceeded that for a total of $365,000. $6,909.35. Which is pretty amazing. As you know, this represents 1.75% of the gross revenue of the mountain. And despite last season, so the season started out with it includes the summer. And we had a very challenging summer last year. It rained like every weekend, I believe.
Yeah, and then conversely, we had challenges with drought, as many other mountains had. So yes, last season was fraught with a few challenges. We were able to turn the pages and go into a new chapter with Gunstock, hiring a new GM. But as you know, with personnel changes, it's a effort that involves a lot of conversations and positive transitions. So that was another piece. And I'm happy to say that they're pulling their wagons in the same direction. And at Gunstock, it's very evident.
Right. And then the winter, as we all know, also had some challenges. We ended up losing the main chairlift during vacation week. And again, as Commissioner Wood alluded to, with the team pulling the wagons in the same direction, the team was amazing. They really, in the ski industry, it's kind of a strange little business nationally. And some ski resorts may have kind of maybe tried to cover up the problem or done something a little different, where Gunstock and the team, they fully kind of, I don't want to say embraced it, but for lack of a better word, they accepted the challenge. They were forthright and open with the public and with our customers. And also, again, with the new GM and the current people on staff, they were able to use their knowledge and their combined expertise to really pull one out of the hat and get that piece of equipment back up and running. And again, here we are. We had a great season. The numbers were good, reflected, of course, in this check. To that end, so the commission, along with the team, continues on a pattern of not coming to Belknap County for the revenue anticipation notes. So we are self-funding our entire operation. And once again, we're investing CapEx dollars for more improvements on the mountain. The bulk of which this year are centered around those chairlifts. So people get concerned. The lifts are, starting to be old and that. But the good news is the bones are good, the towers are good. What's really needed are the kind of mechanical and computer controls that operate these pieces of equipment. And the newspaper had an article a couple weeks ago. It was a little misleading, it made it seem like we're doing a $10 million CapEx. And that's like a 2-year, they kind of picked up on the 2-year or 2-season cycle. But the bulk of that money is, again, the panoramic chair. So we started work on it in the fall. There's more work that's kind of wrapping up right now, and then it'll run for the winter. And then as soon as winter season ends, they're going to do the rest of the work. And that chairlift will be, for all intents and purposes, a brand new piece of equipment. Yes, the towers are there. There's nothing wrong with the towers. There's no need to buy new ones for that. But computers, gearboxes, all the critical things will all be replaced. This year, one of the main things that already has been done is the communication cabling. That's a vital part of safety on that, piece of equipment. All the wheels is all sensors and everything, and some of that was problematic in cause of some of the issues we had. That's been fixed. So also, among the other things we're doing this year, we put a generator on the summit, which again will help in the event of like a localized kind of off-site power outage. We can still maintain some operations up there. snow guns, a new loader, like there's a little less of the forward facing things that we've seen in the past few years. Like last year, we saw two new old trails, rehab trails come online. We have the new rental pavilion and that. So the focus now is kind of inward on infrastructure, electricity, kind of transformers, work in the campground, because we're also do have an eye to the off season. So the campground is another thing that's very productive and very much a vital part of the non-snow piece of gun stuff. Belknap County, so once again, I think we're 3 years into a special Belknap County ticket available to Belknap County residents. It's a reduced ticket. It's $55. I believe you can, it's good any day except Saturday. So that's a huge benefit because it's right in the neighborhood of $100 per ticket, depending on the day of the week. And this year, we also implemented a campground, the Belknap County camping reduction. So we're definitely out there. We're working for Belknap County. We've expanded, our capital spending kind of improvements. So the whole facility just adds more value to Belknap County. And again, the things I noted, the employment, the benefits to the residents, and then indirectly, all the businesses, almost as much as possible, all the work that we do hire out, we make every attempt that we can to hire Belknap County businesses.
Yeah. I think I'd just like to emphasize that with all the reinvestment, we are heavily focused on increasing our reliability with our consumers and our pass holders. And that's part of the significance of that reinvestment for the communication towers, so that we can react in a timelier fashion to make sure that the main lift is running. Because optics wise and just for sheer purposes of enjoyment, that's what our consumers really want to see as well. And if that's all that you wanted to mention, I just wanted to emphasize again how much this represents the wisdom, the experience, the collaboration, and all of the resilience of our employees. And so we're really proud of them, and we owe them a lot of thanks and appreciation. And in addition, I'd like to summarize by congratulating you on your retirement, and thank you for all that you've done in service and communication with Gunstock over the years. Thank you.
Yeah, she's been a great resource to us, as we mentioned at the
Yes.
last meeting, and yes, thank you for
Talking
sending.
nicely.
Big on gratitude, yeah.
You haven't closed, you can retire.
Well, when the day comes.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Congratulations. You will be noticeably missed, for sure. So, yeah.
Think that
Any questions?
I just want to commend the commissioners. We appreciate the yeoman work you do on behalf of Gunstock and the county, the benefit of all of us. Just an observation, this check is in excess of last year's check.
Mhm.
And I find that quite extraordinary because as you mentioned, your primary lift was down 5 days during the vacation week when weather was actually good. And if I recall, Christmas week weather was less than ideal. So somehow you managed to recover sufficiently and generate even more revenue. So thank you and congratulations. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And we're happy to do it, and just another stat, so we opened on schedule December 6th, which was only 3 days ahead of one of the large ski areas up north that's normally open prior to Thanksgiving. So we opened as scheduled. We were open a total of 119 days out of a scheduled 121. And the days that we weren't open were based on rain, not because of equipment, because despite the pan chair being down, we had other options. As you know, there's 5 lifts on the mountain, and the team did everything they could to certainly work with our customers so that people, they're on vacation. It was a big deal. but we can't stress enough how well the team handled that. And I would also be remiss if I didn't say that the other chairlifts are getting a lot of love too. It's not just the panorama. We've done gearboxes and kind of all the electrical. Look at the problem is a lot of these electrical components are just obsolete. I mean, they're 20 years old, you can't get some of the parts, and it's just a reality. So as Commissioner Wood mentioned, the team is working very hard to make sure that the customers and the people that use gun stock know, you know, we want them to know that we hear them, we understand this, and we want to make sure that we keep the place running. And safety, of course, is always job one.
Yeah, and I'll boldly say there has never been a better time to be a commissioner at Gunstock Mountain. So thank you for recognizing us, but it is our absolute pride and privilege to be able to work on behalf of the mountain
Well, we
in
appreciate
service
that.
of our constituents as well. So,
And wishing you another banner season. Hopefully
yes,
we'll get some precipitation and you'll open in December.
yeah, thank you.
Any questions for the commissioners?
You're not.
Thank you.
One quick one, are the snowmaking capabilities gonna be down because of the drought?
So until October 15th, okay, we have a pond and we have a dam.
Right.
Okay, and there's some like rules and laws, it's in some of the RSA, so we can't close the dam until the 15th. So prior to the 15th, we're kind of okay, and Robert has kind of stayed, he's the general manager, president, and said we're not at a crisis. And we're hopeful to get some rain. They do have some contingency planning. But certainly we could be in better shape than some of the other bigger mountains up north. So, but after the 15th, we want some rain.
I think.
Yeah, and I'll go
Yeah.
just one step further and say that we have also purchased state-of-the-art snowmaking equipment that can actually make snow at higher temperatures as well. And so as we did last year and may have to do in the future, I'm fully confident that our senior management team will pivot and make changes as necessary. And again, we're not standing before anybody asking for a RAN. So we fully anticipate to be operational and be here next year with a higher check, hopefully. But yeah, great question.
Thank you again, commissioners, very much. Look forward to seeing you on the trails this winter,
Yes.
hopefully as early as December.
Oh, one last thing, the 26th of October is County Day. All residents can come up to the mountain, take a free ride on the
Now, coaster.
mountain coaster, the chairlift, and the Panorama Pub is gonna be open that weekend. And I think, is it open this Sunday too?
Yes.
Okay, because there's weddings and stuff. By the way, the wedding business has really grown. Last week I did mention, I pointed out that pavement that you know, the county kind of worked to put in place in our parking lot. You know, now when the brides show up, they're not
More
like,
many shoes and dresses.
right, they're not showing up in a cloud of dust, so. We appreciate the ongoing support of the county.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
I don't, let me just, is it okay if we get a picture?
Yeah, let's, commissioners, everyone, let's take a quick picture. That's a large sum of money. Deborah, you too.
Not gonna slide on.
Sorry, I need to be my speaking.
Commissioner here.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
I know we always enjoy keeping that.
You do.
So, thank you, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time to come and make the presentation. Nicely done.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure. Okay. That's significant. Good work. All right, commissioners, next up, we have Mr. Dan Cronin, CGI Business Solutions regarding health insurance. Good evening. Hello. Welcome to Belknap. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
What do you have for us this evening? Good stuff, I hope. It's good news.
Oh, we are working on it. I know Deb, the one that you want to just talk about the process of where we're at and so forth. So, well, first, thank you for having us. My name is Dan Cronin. I'm president of CGI, and I'm here with Mackenzie McDougall, our account executive, and Susan Sullivan. And we're pleased to be working with Deb and her team through this process of the renewal. So, a little background on CGI, and I'm going to walk you through slide by slide, but we're an insurance consulting firm. We're located in Auburn, New Hampshire. We have offices in Maine and Beverly, Mass. So we represent all kinds of businesses and counties and SAUs for their employee benefits program. So we work on behalf of you folks. And we went through an RFP process with Deb and her team. And really it comes down to the services that we provide, the consulting services, working with Deb and her folks to make sure that your members of the county plan, which there are 90 plus or so that are currently with the Health Trust. So we're in the process of comparing the Health Trust to what is available in the market to make sure that we have the most competitive programs possible for the least amount of price. And around that, we focus on a tremendous amount of value adds that we work with. We're also we're a third-party administrator, so I have contacts in right now, but we do flexible spending programs, assist with retiree billing, COBRA administration. So that's kind of what we do. I'll let Mackenzie talk a little bit about her experience, where she comes from. She's got a tremendous amount, as does Sue, of experience working in the municipality and marketplace.
Yeah. So my name is Mackenzie McDougall. I'm an account executive here at CGI. I spent the last 10 years with the New Hampshire Interlocal Trust. So I have extensive working relationships with municipalities throughout the state, with their benefit administration, their union negotiations and conversations. But really, bottom line, working with the employees and ensuring that they're getting the most out of their health benefits and that they're understanding how it works for them and their families.
And I'm Sue Sullivan, and I am working in business development. Had reached out to Deborah, and we're now sitting here. I formerly worked for New Hampshire Interlocal Trust for a year, doing the same thing. And my background basically is I worked with Harvard Pilgrim for like 9 years prior to that. But I understand, I think there's some questions that you had that you wanted to kind of interview us. Is that correct?
No.
Oh.
So,
No, but we're hoping you could explain some of what CGI can do for the county as opposed to how we've been operating, just purchasing our health insurance plans through Health Trust.
Sure.
And maybe talk a little about the difference between being self-funded and fully, is it fully funded?
Fully insured.
Yes. If you could talk a little about the two differences there, I think that would be helpful.
Sure, perfect. Well, it was nice to see Gunstock here. They've been a client of CGI's for over 10 years. And they're wonderful. They do great work, and it's a beautiful mountain. So it was that kind of, when I saw it, Gunstock said, before we are, and then to see you giving you this huge check, that was amazing. So we're right now, we're in the process of just working as a consultant, working to secure the best possible rates from looking now at the marketplace with Health Trust. And the way we look at that is a market that provides benefits to your employees. Anthem Direct can also provide the same type of benefit, as can Harvard Pilgrim. Those tend to be, at the moment, the two most competitive programs that we're looking at. And as soon as we have the full renewal, we'll be comparing all three. If Health Trust is determined at the end of the day, we have 3 on-staff underwriters and an actuary that looks at different plans, and we'll make a recommendation. Okay, this is going to be the best market, saves the county the most amount of money, and for the exact same plan. And believe it or not, right now we already have decent secured rates, prospective proposals from both Anthem and Harvard. We're in the process of getting them to sharpen their pencils. That usually tends to happen in our business when the final renewal comes in. So that's what we're in the process now of, also looking at dental and ancillary and things of that nature, anything to do with the employee benefits. So that's kind of what we're actively working on at the moment. The differences between the other market that's out there is potentially a partially self-funded market. I think we would be a little bit early to do that move this year. Because when you're in a pooled program like the Health Trust, there's very little claims data that's given to you folks, and it's not detailed enough. When you purchase on your own, we're able to get monthly, a group of your size, monthly claims data that's gonna tell us what are the pharmaceutical prescriptions that you guys are taking, and are there better alternatives with other markets, because there are substantial potential savings around the pharmacy benefit, but we can't do that analysis unless we have the information. So let's just say, for example, if Anthem or Harvard was the best alternative for the 2026 plan year, we would be evaluating for 2028 other markets where self-funded means basically you're paying an administration fee, you're paying for your claims, and then you're purchasing what's called a reinsurance program. So a group of your size, in our own plan at CGI, we have 115 employees and we have approximately 95 in our plan. We're partially self-funded and we're in a reinsurance captive. So we purchase reinsurance, that's the coverage for claims. In our group, we're responsible for any claim up to $40,000. So if we have $1 million claim, and thankfully we haven't, that's good, it would pay to $960,000 above that. So that's what reinsurance does. So those three components, the administration fee to pay, say, Anthem to administer the plan, the claims that are now yours below 40,000, claims above, you then pay a reinsurance premium. We add those three buckets together, and a lot of times those three buckets together are less money than you're paying for a fully insured plan where the carrier's, giving you a rate, and that's what we compare, but we really wouldn't be recommending that for this coming year due to lack of data. So we very well could be sitting here a few weeks from now saying we've scoured the market. We're gonna make a recommendation that Health Trust is still the best market, or perhaps due to a premium savings for the identical plan, identical network, that buying through Anthem Direct, you guys would be better off. So that's really what we do. So we really wouldn't compare the self-funded this year because we just don't have the data. But it is a very viable long-term solution, and we're fortunate that we are the state's by far and away largest benefits agency, which we're very proud about that. And we're the only one that really hasn't sold their company, so that's of any size. So we're not publicly held or owned by a private equity firm. So that's a little bit about what we do, and I'm fortunate and blessed to have brought on Mackenzie, Susan, and two other folks from New Hampshire Local Trust, because we now have 9+ clients that are in that market space, where prior they didn't work traditionally with brokers. The whole market was controlled by Health Trust, School Care, New Hampshire Local. So now they're purchasing like other clients, like Bank of New Hampshire, our consultant that works with CGI works with them. Lakes Region Community Center has been a long time client of ours, as well as Gunstock. We represent about 1,000 employers. So that's what we do every day. And now the municipality business is one that will work with consultants. So we're fortunate enough to meet Deb and her team and complete the RFP process. And so we're not like just a consultant, but we own our own benefit administration firm. We can do retiree billing. We're truly an extension of Deb's team, and that's what makes CGI different.
How about, can you mention some of the other things like compliance?
Sure.
Make the other HR supports, because those will be important to us.
Sure. So on page number 5, we've kind of put together kind of the highlight of shows these are value adds that, and how we get compensated is if you guys wind up going to Anthem or Harvard or Delta, it fixed into their rates that they file with the New Hampshire Insurance Commission are the consultant fees that are in there. There's no additional fee to you guys to have us as part of the program. So with that, because we have so many clients, we have a couple of unique services that we provide to our clients for free. One, I mentioned earlier, the COBRA administration. We do COBRA, retiree billing, flexible spending, parking and transit. All those are like traditionally you're paying an administrator to do that. We do those for our clients for nothing. That was one of the better business moves I did 20 years ago. I purchased a small TPA, and now we've grown it. We have 15 employees that work in that department, and they only work with CGI clients. So the interesting stat about that is the client to service ratio in that business, we're 1/3 of the industry average. So they're able to provide very high touch boutique service to your members that might have a flexible spending account, or those members that are on COBRA. Compliance is huge. Anything that you have to do with compliance, we have Two very strategic relationships. One is with a company called Benefits Compliance Solutions. Anything you have to do, and there's a number of them that you need to do to be compliant when you're offering employee benefits. Benefits Compliance Solutions has 20 compliance folks that work there that set up a calendar for our account execs like Mackenzie that they make sure, okay, well, this is the month to do your Medicare Part D notices. Anything that you need to do, our account executives work with them to make sure you're compliant on anything around your employee benefits package. That's provided free of charge. In addition, we have a relationship which is exclusive to CGI with an employment law firm, Foley and Foley, which is a wonderful service. Where our clients are able to call them directly and get their actual questions answered, because you have to sign that, there's no conflict of interest. So they're representing you. So you can call for unlimited questions employment related. And, when they bill at 500 plus an hour, we have a lot of clients taking them up on that. Now, if that's for questions and answers, it's totally free. They can engage, but it's not replacing any established, law relationships that you have. But what a wonderful service for clients to call and not have to worry about, I think I talked for 15 minutes, here comes on $50 bill. That doesn't exist with Foley and Foley. The technology, we're able to kind of make sure, whatever platform I know that you guys have mentioned, you're on one where we're able to support enrollments, additions to the plan. If somebody terminates employment with the county, we would send a COBRA notification. So that all wraps around we do. And as far as employee engagement, that's really Mackenzie. We're able to resolve claim issues for your employees. They would generally, depending upon how HR wants to do it, might funnel through there. And then to Mackenzie and her team, we have a whole team of CGI health advocates that are constantly resolving a dental bill, making sure they get the short-term disability check, or this claim hasn't been paid, what's up with that? So that's what we do, is represent you guys. And that's all just part of the fees that are built into the rates that the carriers have. So we try to get back as much as we possibly can.
You're not paying any additional fees. Like I know some brokers around here added 1-2% to a consulting fee. We do not do that.
Looking at your brochure here, it seems the North Country is pretty well sewn up.
Yeah, we got North Country, and we also insure all the hospitals up there. I live in my car quite a bit. I have North Country Healthcare, Littleton Hospital, so yeah, we're up north quite a bit, Littleton Coin, so yeah, we love, it's time. For everybody who renews their plans, a lot of times you're one, so I get to see it about 5-6 times, at least.
I spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh.
Oh, great town, yeah.
I live up there too, so they have a person up there that can get to a group if we need to do open enrollments and things like that, so.
Mr. Cronin, you mentioned, how many employees do you have? Was it 150?
115.
115. You mentioned that presently your company is partially self-funded.
Yeah, partially self-funded means that we purchased a reinsurance product for claims over 40,000. If you were fully self-funded, you wouldn't even purchase reinsurance. Nobody really does that unless they've got 10,000 or so employees.
You also mentioned that it'd be premature for the county to enter this in a self-funded way. Would a partial self-funding model work for Belknap County in your estimation?
Once we're able to see claims experience, once we're getting the monthly, then it absolutely could. I would say 50% of our clients that are over 100 employees are morphing towards joining these partially self-funded programs, because the pharmacy cost is growing. It's becoming like 40% of the total spend in a lot of groups, in some cases even worse. And that's where the carriers really make all their money. The big PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers, which are CVS, Caremark, Express Scripts, and Optum. And then, they're the ones that they produce, those drugs produce a lot of rebates. So when you're fully insured, it's about 25 to 30% of the total cost of pharmacy is just in rebates. So that comes back to you if you're in that partially self-funded model. So that's all part of our underwriting analysis, but we can't really do that unless we have claim information. And when you're part of a large pool like Health Trust, they don't provide that level of detail that we would need to do that analysis, at least yet. Maybe in the future they will. So that could be something that might come down the line. I know there's a lot of transparency on bills and so forth, but matter of fact, when we work with our clients, we have 60 plus clients that are in the same model we are. We actually have kind of coined it transparent health, because every dollar you pay is accounted for, you can see it. There's no green curtain where dollars are being made and so forth, there's none of that. in that one.
So maybe there are baby steps we could take to move closer to something like that. Like I think you mentioned that in one of our meetings that we could, and I'm not suggesting, I don't want to create a panic here, but just something to look at going forward. We could maybe move to higher deductible plans.
Yep.
Where the county might fund that deductible and with the savings and the premium savings. So I think, you know, we have a lot to learn about that, and having someone else to help us make those decisions and do the analysis required. And it is also late in the year, you know, we're gonna have open enrollment before we know it. And so it'll be late for us to make any kind of significant right now in plan design, I think. But we're anxious and eager to look at some different ways of doing things than we have in the past.
Great. Yeah, and that's part of what we do with the TPA is we do health reimbursement arrangements, and that's what that was referencing. That's part of the whole renewal proposal that we'll be putting in place in front of Governor team very soon.
Questions, commissioners?
No, I mean, it sounds like it'd be a great help to the county and
Thank you.
administration, and us. You know, it's something we probably need to dive into.
If I can just go to the next thing, because these two items are really related, and while they're here and while Jamie is here, the health benefits review team that we had working on this for several months was comprised of Albert Davis from maintenance technician, Patrick O'Reilly, corrections lieutenant, Shelley, nurse home administrator, Jamie, HR coordinator, Jen Irving, a corrections officer, and myself. So we met many times. We worked putting the RFP together, putting that out to bid. We were happy to we had 7 responses, which is surprising. We typically have had 2. So having brokers, we've never had brokers respond before. I can sort of understand now, given the way our RFP is written, that it was difficult. It took a lot of questions back and forth, but we got through it. And we met with 5 of the brokers. We did not meet with Health Trust because we don't have we know their product and we don't have any rates from them yet. So we're just waiting to hear what they come up with. One of the other, Allegiant Care, which is the health insurance company that provides coverage for the Teamsters unions. They had expressed interest, but they weren't able to satisfy our RFP. They don't provide coverage for retirees, and we really didn't get adequate information from them to consider them a qualified bid. So we met with 5. We interviewed them. We narrowed it down to 3. Which wasn't easy. We learned a lot from each of the 5, I would say. We narrowed it to 3. That was unanimous from our group. And then we sent out a list of questions to try to help us differentiate. We got answers to those questions. And after reviewing all of that, there was a unanimous decision from the committee to choose CGI to work with, to help us strategize going forward and make the most of the health insurance money, which I took a quick look at. The county is spending $4 million on health insurance a year. That's pretty substantial, you know, and I'm lumping in not only the insurance premiums, but the opt-off benefits that we pay people who don't take our coverage and the opt-down. So it's a huge expenditure for the county. So unanimously, our committee is recommending that the Board of Commissioners approve and award this RFP to CGI Business Solutions. That is.
So what does that mean? To award what to CGI at this point?
It means they're going to become a broker of record. Is that the
Yep.
correct terminology? There's no cost to us in doing that. But we will be utilizing their services and working in partnership with them to choose the best health plans and the best plan designs going forward. The right mix of benefits. And yeah, they have technology that we can roll out to our employees that will be a huge help, I think, to our employees in them grappling with all the benefits available to them. So I think we just are hoping to get a formal motion on the record to utilize the services, to work in partnership with CGI and make them our broker of record.
Do I see Jamie back there? Yeah, Jamie, can you step forward for a moment? Sure, of course. If you wouldn't mind, can you share with the commissioners what it was about CGI that sold you? Why you think they're a good solution for us?
They're local in New Hampshire and they do provide a lot of extra added benefits that will help me tremendously, especially during COVID.
Commissioner?
You may have answered this and I missed it. How do you make your money?
So the carriers have generally per employee per month fees, they're built into the rates they produce for the market. So all the carriers have that as part of their process, Delta Dental, Unum for life and disability, Anthem for medical, Heart for medical. So we don't do commission add-ons, so whatever's built in, we represent, so they pay us because the carriers, it's a lot less expensive for them to do it than to try to sell it to you directly and do all the stuff that we do. So that's how the business has been working for years, so.
It was interesting, and that's one of the things I think we learned is that each of the 5 brokers that submitted bids to us, I think all 5 gave us numbers from Anthem on the same plans that we already have through Health Trust, and they're all identical. The rates are the same.
Correct.
And we were kind of surprised at that, like why is that? But we didn't realize how Anthem works with you to sell those benefits to us.
Yeah, when I started the company 28 years ago, I learned that quick, that the rates are all, the rates are the rates, the rates. Now, effectively, we know how to push back and get the rates as low as possible. However, what the carriers do is they'll wait one day, then they'll send it to the other 4 brokers. So we all have the same rates, the same commissions are built into those rates across the board. But we differentiate, to your point, thank you very much for saying that, by the services that I talked about that we provide internally under CGI. And so that's really is our big difference.
So Jamie and Deborah have been in the trenches on this for the commissioners, so we really rely heavily on their judgment. Since I've been working here with the county as commissioner, one of my primary concerns has been inflation of premiums. I'm leafing through your case studies, page 12. It looks like you assisted a nonprofit with 350 employees. And the first challenge they had was facing 25% premium increases. It appears you're able to fix that, to address it. If you could just tell us briefly how you do that.
Sure. Each one of these case studies are a different funding mechanism for a health insurance plan. The one that you're referring to, that private exchange, that's utilizing an individual coverage HRA, where what that eliminates is the underwriting. So you're getting table-based rates based on age or whether they smoke or don't smoke. This particular group, unfortunately, had a fair amount of high-cost claimants within it, driving the premium to an unsustainable level. So we did an analysis, and in doing that, we were able to save them over $3 million because the underwriting goes away. And we worked because we are benefits administrator, we're able to do that all under one roof. So that's a private exchange. This other one is looking at utilizing, one of them is the Transparent Health, that's the partially self-funded, where we did a PBM analysis, remember I mentioned earlier, where if we get the data, this was a particular nonprofit as well. We knew that there was a lot of patient assistance program money available to them if they were in this type of model, and they saved $470,000 in the first 3 months. And the last one was what Deb was referring to, is utilizing a higher deductible health plan, taking the one plan and maybe making a lower, a net $500 deductible, and then a 2,000, but purchasing a $5,000 deductible from the carrier. Because we've been doing it for 20 years, we know statistically, how many members in the room are most likely gonna have one of those deductible triggers. So we're able to really calculate in advance, if the carrier gives you X amount of discount, what do we expect to send back to your members in reimbursements? In that case, there was a tremendous amount of savings to do so. So we can even offer 2 plans net to the employee just off the one from the carrier. So we're really experts in all different ways you can fund a plan. These are the only 3 ways. Fully insured, which you are today, partially self-funded model, or an individual coverage HRA. And these are just case examples of all 3 of them. That's part of what we do.
Commissioners, what say you?
I would support the recommendation.
I'll second that.
That's a motion.
That's sure.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Great
Team,
thank you
You're
for
appreciate you taking it.
forward to working with you folks, and we will not let you down.
Great.
All right.
Thank you for your
Have a
time.
wonderful night. Thank you.
So. Well, it looks like, old friend John Bossy,
John,
his manager, is who you got.
Do you have the handout?
Yes.
Yes.
You do, okay, I didn't, it was late. So good evening. So my department update for you. My budget is currently 80% expended. And currently the department has 1 vacancy, which was posted today, and I'm actively recruiting to get that filled. 2026 county maintenance budget has been finalized and is scheduled for presentation and discussion on October 25th. I will be out of state on vacation at the time, but I will be presenting remotely via Zoom. I'm not sure where I'm going to be at the time, but
You'll be somewhere,
I'll be somewhere.
hopefully where there's
you
internet.
don't have to tell us either.
Okay,
Okay.
well, maybe I'll hold around city.
Yeah.
Or out the background.
Yeah.
No palm trees.
No, there's no palm trees. Jail continues to be a significant maintenance challenge and remains very costly to operate. Primarily, our issues involved, deteriorating plumbing, penal fixtures, and locking hardware. As an example, recently I had to replace a toilet, and the total cost was $8,800 for everything: demolition, new toilet, asbestos abatement, reinstallation. Additionally, recently I've sent 5 locks to Craftsmaster Hardware for refurbishment, and their cost to rebuild them at $4,043. Replacing those units with new, they would cost $2,921 each. So rebuilding them is always the best option.
Yeah.
Other problems such as leaking pipes embedded within masonry walls, we've had a lot of this year, require very invasive repairs, often involving jackhammering through concrete and block. And these repairs, when they happen, must be done quickly due to the limited ability of the jail to be able to relocate inmates during downtime. But I am happy to report that the newly installed sewage grinder, our muffin monster, is functioning properly and eating daily.
Grinding away. Huh?
Grinding away.
Great.
Our seasonal preventative maintenance for all the county's heating system is scheduled for this week. We're not doing it today or tomorrow because it's too warm. But more than likely, when the temperatures start to drop, get on that. All of our plows and sanders have been serviced and are ready for use. The cemetery has come along very, very nicely. We've had lots of help from the community. We had a lady just recently go through with her husband and clean all the headstones that were still standing. And they sent Deb a video of their cleaning method, and you could just see the grime from just pouring off of them. So we're pretty much done in there for the season. We've got new signage for up there. We have list the names of everybody who's buried there. We've installed fencing. We've removed all the invasive bittersweet and vines up there. Again, the cleaning of the stones. Really, the only work remaining is we have 41 stones that are broken in half or snapped at the base that need to be replaced. They're actually cheaper to replace than they are to repair. That is an item that I've included in the 2026 budget for your consideration. Staff and visitors have been very happy to receive a lot of feedback regarding the recent parking lot maintenance. And we've had the inmate work crews out all summer long doing landscaping projects across the county, including clearing vines behind the nursing home and whatever tree limbs that we can physically reach. Courthouse lease negotiations are still ongoing. The AOC has not yet responded with a counteroffer from the last meeting that I attended with you. So I do not have a recommendation to present to you at this time for them. And recently, I'm pleased to report that I secured a 3-year fixed natural gas contract for the county at $6.48 per decatherm, reduced from the current $7.04 per decatherm that we're currently paying. That starts January 1st, and this agreement is projected to save the county about $6,600 annually if our usage stays what it has been. So what I have for you this evening, we're busy and enjoying this beautiful weather. Not looking forward to plowing.
Oh, me, yeah.
You all know it's coming, so.
John, couple of questions on the natural gas. What were we paying last year this time, do you know?
It was $7. $7.04 per decatherm.
So that's what we paid last year, for last year's heating
That's what
season?
we've been paying. We have a fixed contract, so.
Yeah.
That's what we've been paying for the past 3 years. So that expires December 31st of this
Yeah.
year.
So we're betting on the prices going up without locking into this contract, correct?
We've already locked into it.
But we're locked in because you're surmising that it's probably gonna be a higher heating season.
Yeah, well, I put an RFP out. I talked to a lot of people in the
Yeah.
industry and
And they're telling you it's
they're
going.
pretty much like grab it now.
Okay, that's good. That's helpful. Thank you. Commissioners,
John, thank you for the work you've been doing overall, especially on the cemetery project. And when it wraps up for the fall, before the snow flies, would you be able to maybe contact somebody from the Sun and have them meet you over there? I'd love to see. I'd love to see an article on it. I'd like people down that county to see what we're doing to preserve the history and the respect of those people that are interred there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Gabriel Perry at the Sun has been doing those progress reports all along with us. And I told him once we're finished for the season and everything's up, that he was gonna come up, take a picture of the cemetery and do a before and after, because we've taken pictures all along the way. Take a picture of the sign, and we have that history. I know that Deborah forwarded to you regarding the Primrose Cemetery. So he's gonna print that in the paper as well. What we're hoping is that people will read it and be like, oh, I didn't know that's where my,
Sure.
you know,
So and so's buried.
yeah, so we're hoping that happens as far as that stuff.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
it's good suggestions. Commissioner Ware, any questions? John, thank you.
Thank
You're very welcome. Thank you. You get a vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first one though.
Oh, okay.
Much deserved. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Okay, Commissioner Bruce. Next up, we have the tandem of Chris Thompson and Michelle Weatherby.
Welcome.
Hello. Good to see you both. You have proposal for us, it looks like.
I do. So we're here to look for your approval on us integrating pretrial service into restorative justice. This has been on my to-do list since I started pretrial back in 2017. Because really the two programs go together. It's fiscally responsible to keep them together. They feed other programs in the county. They take some pressure off the court docket as well, because you're feeding into these other programs and things are getting adjudicated faster. So people are getting through the system faster, keeping people in the community longer. Alternatives in sending people to jail that you have the ability to use. You know, it saves the county money and keeping people out of jail. We get people out of the jail faster. We help assist getting people into treatment. And you keep people involved in the community as well. And it really, the stakeholders are involved, the jail's involved. When we sat down and came up with this plan together, we took all our employees that it affected into account. We got their feedback. And really how it could benefit both of our programs. And really, nothing is really gonna change. Nothing to the community is gonna change, except we're gonna feed them more, we're gonna be more available to them. Because really restorative justice has the ability to have more staff to help with the amount of workload. One civilian employee from the jail is gonna come with us. The other one cannot come with us because it'll affect their retirement, so they made that choice. So now restorative justice will be a team of 4. Which really will help a lot, because pretrial really has a lot of clients. I mean, I think currently today is like 123. And they have 10 in treatment currently, they have 3 waiting to go into treatment, which really helps the jail, getting people out of the jail. And we monitor all those things. So we're giving feedback to the stakeholders, we're giving feedback to the defense attorneys, the public defense prosecutors, and trying to come up with those alternatives, which really saves everybody a lot of money, keeps people in the community. And we're still gonna work with the jail every day. We're still gonna do what we do. We're gonna keep a really big open communication on needs. Something's breaking down, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna have that conversation. How do we fix it? How do we keep this moving forward? I'm anticipating this program is gonna blow up. Meaning it's gonna be bigger. It's gonna feed everything in this community, and it's gonna help keep people moving forward rehabilitative wise. Gives them more resources. I see it nothing but positive. The downside for my program is my budget's gonna go up a little bit. Because I've got another employee coming. I'm probably gonna use a little more paper. Things like that, but my employee is part-time. So it's gonna save no full-time employees, so we're not gonna be paying benefits, we're not gonna be doing that, it's really gonna be the salary that we're gonna be paying.
Just the lateral, right.
Which we're already doing.
This would be a reduction in the Department of Corrections and
One
Yeah.
part-time employee that's currently in pretrial will move over with restorative. And where she has already the 2 existing staff, it would provide the offenders with additional services that my 1.5 person team right now currently provides. So with 120 people in pretrial, it's a lot to manage and make sure they're behaving in the community, making their court appearances. So having restorative assume that 1 person, it will benefit the offenders and the fact that we can keep them out in the community longer, get them to court, get them adjudicated, and give them more services to hopefully keep them in the community and not in the jail, which is a huge undertaking, because the jail we couldn't hold another 120 people in the jail. We'd be shipping them out at that point in time. We don't have the bed capacity where the count in the jail is so high as well. So having restorative gives additional resources and helps the stakeholders to provide the offenders with much needed services that currently the 1.5 staff would be they're hard to get everything done.
Really, pretrial becomes proactive instead of reactive. I mean, 1.5 people cannot not handle that many people to be proactive. It's really reactive, right? You're answering the demands of what's coming from your stakeholders. Now we can start thinking about, you can assign different tasks to different roles of different people to do different things. Hey, this person is gonna be in charge of treatment. This person's gonna cover court. This person's gonna do the interviews at the jail. They spread the wealth, and it becomes a much more effective system, and it's more efficient as well. Especially now, I mean, bail reforms changed. I've been sitting in court the last week or so off and on, watching what's happening. It can't be any more important to have people out on pretrial than it is right now. The jail is gonna fill up. It's gonna fill up quick. And if we're not there, and I think an important piece to know is, if they don't get in pretrial right away, guess what? In 30 days, we're going back. The jail's gonna say, hey, what about these people? We're gonna go back, and if their situations change and they meet criteria, guess what? We're gonna get you out. And we're gonna continue to do that every 30 days. to see if we can reevaluate people, to get them out of the jail, to get them back in the community, start getting them the resources they need for that rehabilitation and keep them members in the community. That's our goal.
So currently, pretrial, there's two positions?
There's currently one, there was one full-time, one part-time. When this whole transition came up, the one full-time person was offered either if it does move to go with the program. But that person opted to take an open position on the floor as a correction officer.
Okay, so currently pretrial is slated for how many FTEs?
One full-time, one part-time.
Alright. And so that one full-time has moved to another position within
Correct.
Department of Corrections.
Mhm.
So the half-time is moving, and so then there is, in essence, a reduction of one full-time employee across the county.
Correct.
I understand that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, originally, I don't know, 3 years into pretrial when we started, I came with Keith here, the superintendent, and asked at that time for another part-time employee. So we did have two at one point. And then I stepped away from the program, and then, Superintendent Weatherby chose to have a full-timer in that position. So currently, as far as I know, there's one part-time person. And the other one, I think she filled with a correctional staff member, so. But originally, there were two part-time positions.
Right, okay, I got that. And so you talk about that you're going to grow the program and it's going to blow up. Is there a revenue piece to that, or is that just we're going to incur more expense?
No, there'll be a revenue piece because we'll be diverting people to other programs, like diversion, there's a revenue piece for diversion. So
Give us
just,
an idea of what that revenue increase would be.
it all depends on how many people meet the criteria to go in, right? So just sitting, I haven't
Is it
seen,
going to be a net revenue gain or a net expense, this grow?
I don't think I'm gonna cover the first 2 years what it costs to have my employee brought over, which is covered. But I think you're gonna see an increase in revenue. I don't think it's gonna be ginormous at first. Because misdemeanors is $400, felonies are $500, and that's only those that can pay if the court doesn't waive it.
Right.
But really realistically, I have employees that need work. And they have the ability to be busy, they have the ability to be in the community, they have the ability to solicit people to come in this program that meet criteria. And honestly, revenue will increase slowly. It's gonna take time to get those people in the program that can afford to pay for it. I'm not a big believer, if you can afford to go to Dunkin' every day and you can afford to have a cell phone and you can afford to do these things, you can afford to make $10 a month payments towards your program fees. I'm a big believer in that. So I do believe that you'll start seeing more money coming from us, but to tell you that number, I can't.
So with this proposal, we should anticipate. One will have a savings of a full-time employee, whatever that equates to. But the program is going to cost the county more money, to make the shift. Is that?
Well, really,
In the short run, is that?
but we're already
I'm not
covered
saying-
with that part-time employee. We're just moving that part-time employee over with the revenue.
You're saying that the program is going to expand, and so there's going to be an increased cost with that, so I'm just trying to understand. To what level you're asking for us to approve an increase in county expense.
My increase, honestly, what I see is paper. Right now, all I see is paper. I already have the employees. Time to be busy. We're already going to court. We live in the court building. We're walking across to the courts.
I think there's confusion because when you said the program is going to blow up,
Yeah, it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna be
right,
busier.
you mean offer more services,
Services, yeah.
but not expand your staff.
Nope. I don't need to expand this.
Any other expenses?
No, the only thing that's gonna expand is our availability to this community.
Okay.
So there are two part-time employees in restorative justice right now who do not have a full workload. And there's one part-time employee right now in pretrial services who is inundated. So that, I think that's one huge benefit here is there'll now be 3 part-time, 4 including the director. Able to handle much larger, the workload can be spread and shared and handled. Where right now we have 1 person struggling to keep her head above water and 2 who can take on more capacities.
Essentially, it'd be providing the current clients on pretrial services additional services with not additional cost to the county, but to keep the offenders in the community, which will reduce the overall cost of incarcerating them.
Mhm.
It would be.
Yeah, I understand all of that.
That's,
Right.
It should
Or we
provide more
take, we take
services.
2 restorative justice employees and move them into Department of Corrections, and expand pretrial services in Department of Corrections,
They won't go.
right? I mean, that is the alternative.
That's always been, I know that's been an
We're doing
idea
the same
discussed.
work.
Evidence-based practices don't support that.
Don't support.
Doesn't support pretrial services and restorative justice being inside a facility. One, offenders in this community will not come. They will not walk all the way up here. One of the benefits that pretrial does now is goes to the community, to the offenders.
So the work isn't gonna change, it's just what department those
just
employees.
where.
How, right?
It's where.
It's just where.
So how does it change if they're Department of Correction employees, or whether they're employees of a department called Restorative Justice?
Well, that doesn't matter.
Right.
That doesn't matter. The physical location of where these services happens, that's what matters. So that's always been the issue. The restorative justice was moved from the courthouse against their will down here at one point in time. That did not prove to be successful. And I think that was a continuous request to have them moved back to the courthouse, which we have now accomplished. They're back there.
Yeah.
And I don't know the technical reasons, but there was always great resistance to trying to offer restorative justice services out of the corrections facility. And I think I don't know if that's what you're suggesting.
Well,
What makes it
I guess
very-
I'm not saying that they would need to be relocate where their physical office is.
Okay,
But if we accounted for them under the Department of Corrections as pretrial services and their office was still in the courthouse, how is that any different?
it isn't. I think the only issue there is then if you do that, it assumes, I guess then we just have to figure out the lines of communication. Is the superintendent then responsible for this operation happening in the courthouse? Where she will presumably have very little interaction. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, that I think that's a no, or not a good idea anyway.
But I think it also possesses challenges for stakeholders in the community. There's a process to get into the jail. There's a screening process, there's a training process, all these things that have to happen. And the jail isn't always able to accommodate when a treatment provider or someone that has to come in and do a screening can come in. That will cause us not being available to the
If
stakeholders.
the office is located in the jail, but if their offices are still located in the courthouse, that doesn't change, right?
We still do business at the jail. No, even with this transition, we're still gonna be doing business at the jail.
I'm not following what.
We come in every
the
morning.
objection is you're trying.
So every morning, you come into the jail and people have been arrested overnight.
Yeah.
So between the hours, I'm just gonna say 5 and 8 in the morning, there's interviews that happen from pretrial staff. They go in and see if they meet criteria, they do record checks, we do all of those things. Then the recommendations have got to go out to every stakeholder in the community that it affects. Then someone's got to show up in court. And not just one court, we have 3 courts to cover in this county. So we actually go to Franklin on occasion as well, because Tilton and Samberton are out of Franklin. So you'd have people everywhere, like all over the place. Never mind, we have a juvenile piece too. So you have to take that into account, because that person is busy doing juvenile stuff too. So you've got all these pieces moving at one time, and to think that it's gonna be managed and it's gonna be efficient having to go in and out and in and out and in and out and drive back and forth. It's just not gonna be. It's gonna be very difficult because you're gonna have to, like Deb said, you're gonna have to communicate with who's doing what. Because you have two different directors, you've got 4 different people involved. It makes it very, I think it just makes it cleaner to do it this way. It's not as messy.
From my perspective, the superintendent of jails, the director of restorative justice have gotten together and talked about this. And they're the experts on this. And that they have decided this would be the best way to do it. We have a director of restorative justice that knows that side of the program and can also manage that and the restorative justice side. They can all be brought down to the building where it's cleaner for the clientele to come back and forth, right? Because it's downtown, you're not going in and out of the jail. So I see no reason why that wouldn't be the better way to operate.
So, as I'm sure everyone here knows, when it comes to line items in the budget, start working on them at the end of October. There are political considerations. Because the commissioners will craft the budget. And they will take on an advise and consent role with the Belknap County delegation. I think we all know that the commissioners had to strenuously defend every line item in restorative justice budget fiscal year 2025. If there's even a whiff that this merger will incur more payroll, it creates a problem. It creates a problem for you, creates a problem for us, and it creates a problem for the county administrator. So I think, Tricia, we really need to know if this program expands as you anticipate it will, how much more payroll is going to be involved.
I think the only payroll that's involved is what's coming with it.
The county is essentially saving 1 FTE from pretrial. So we would actually, it'd be a savings.
It's
that we
a
would not-
significant reduction by 1 full-time employee. There is no increased payroll. Now, someday, if there's, I don't know what can happen. I mean, I don't know how the future looks. If it's 5 years from now and they come back and say, we have this much work and we can justify another person, that's a whole nother conversation for all of you to consider.
So,
But for 2026, there is a decrease in payroll. Yeah, all benefits, yeah, that payroll cost of 1 person is significant.
because in a few short weeks, Trish is going to come before the board with a budget.
And just because we have already seen that budget,
Yes, we have.
I can tell you, it is no more than it was last year.
Commissioner,
Or I'll say within a few $100s, maybe, I can't.
It's actually less.
All right, it might be, it's very close, there's no significant increase.
I think then my choice would be then to make a final decision when we see that budget.
agreed.
So we see the numbers, we see the reduction, we should clearly see a reduction in the Department of Corrections. We should clearly see an increase in restorative justice for it, for the shift of staff. And with that, we know what we're approving is that there's not an increase in county expenditure across the board.
All right,
Deborah?
can I make a suggestion then, because we have a situation.
Mhm.
The situation is that there were 5 vacancies, full-time corrections officer vacancies. The person, full-time person who worked in pretrial services. This is a long-term employee, a full-time, long-term employee. Her options were moved to restorative justice when this change happens. Or grab one of those vacancies. Now, moving to pretrial services over in the courthouse would make that person ineligible for group 2 retirement. A benefit that person's worked 17 years for. That was very undesirable for her. So grabbing a vacant correction officer position while it's available it would have been a significant risk to that person to not take a position while it's available. So that's happened. So that means that those 120 or so, 123 people in pretrial services are now being served by one part-time person, which is untenable, I would say.
It's very difficult for her to supervise hundred and twenty people.
So
with
maybe
32 hours.
maybe if you, because we've been under the impression that once these two directors came to you with a viable plan, that there wouldn't be much to stand in the way of doing this if it's gonna be good for the county and good for the public.
Noted, but as Commissioner Waring stated.
Yes, so if you wanted to, if you're not thinking about waiting several months, 6 months,
It will be several months.
it would be 6.
Meeting on.
Meeting on the 25th.
Oh, you just until you see the budget?
Yes,
Oh, all right, a week.
yes.
I thought you meant till the budget's approved.
No.
All right. We can show you the budget anytime, okay.
Well, and to that, I would say that I think all of us together may have put the cart before the horse and having already moved on this plan if it has not come before the commissioners for approval.
You're absolutely right. We only talked to one commissioner about it during the interviewing and that would be a good plan, so the
And I'm not
problem
saying
was
it's-
just, we don't want that,
I'm not saying it's a bad plan,
all right.
but I think that we need to have the ability to fully vet the plan before things get put into motion.
Okay,
Because it very well could come before us and we could choose to do something different and now decisions have been made by individuals that's either could or could not have been advantageous or not advantageous to them. So I just would ask that if there is a consideration of a plan that we are brought into it as early as possible and certainly before employees are making decisions on their own employment.
I honestly don't see how it's gonna increase when we're getting rid of a full-time position with all the benefits.
I understand that and I do believe you, however, I have no dollars and documentation to support that, to back that up. I believe it to be true. But we have to see the numbers, or at least I do, in order for me to say, yes, this is a viable decision and a viable plan that makes sense for the county as a whole.
And doesn't incur any additional cost. Certainly not for fiscal year 26, which is coming up, which has to be presented to the delegation. That's the process we have to follow, Trish.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hodges?
I was just gonna say, if it wasn't so soon, I could easily take a leap of faith and trust what the county administrator is telling us. But we'll have to wait a week or two, then. So, yeah.
2 weeks, I think. So you'll have your numbers ready for us then.
I'll have my numbers ready before, because I'm not available that day, so you'll get my numbers earlier.
Okay.
So I'm asking, once you see my numbers, that you make a decision so I can make this happen, because there's a lot of moving pieces that have got to get into place. There's judges to deal with, there's prosecutors to deal with, there's defense attorneys to deal with, there's police departments to deal with. There's a lot to deal with.
There's also a board of commissioners to have been dealt with.
That's why we're sitting here. Right, that's why we came here tonight before you. So I'm just
Later-
asking, once you
later
see
rather than
that,
Sooner, okay, so we'll leave it at that, thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, Deborah, do we have other business this evening?
No,
Do we have public comment this evening? Seeing none? We may be adjourned. Ms. Shackett?
yes.